wouldn't be here without that pain. Let me tell you something most people will never admit. Your pain is not your punishment, it's your pathway. The truth is, every breakthrough in my life was born from a breakdown. Every moment that brought me to my knees eventually gave me the strength to rise higher. I know that might sound impossible when you're in the middle of the storm, but hear me when I say this. Your greatest pain can become your greatest power. People come to me and say, Tony, why does it hurt so much? Why did I have to go through that? And I tell them, you think the pain was there to break you? No, that pain was there to wake you up. It was there to shape you, forge you, and prepare you for what's next. Pain is life's way of making sure you grow, because comfort never builds greatness, struggle does. If you look at the most powerful leaders, entrepreneurs, and visionaries in the world, you'll find one thing in common: they've all suffered. They've all been broken, but they didn't stay broken. They used it, they transformed it, and so can you. So if you're carrying pain, don't run from it, don't numb it, don't bury it, honor it. That pain didn't come to destroy you. It came to deliver you to the next level of strength, of clarity, of purpose. Because here's the truth. I wouldn't be here without that pain, and neither will you. Now let's turn that pain into power. Let's go. Pain is not the enemy. It's a messenger, and once you stop running from it and start listening to it, everything changes. Most people go through life trying to avoid pain at all costs. They numb it, ignore it, escape it. But what they don't realize is that pain shows up for a reason. It's there to get your attention. It's life's signal that something is out of alignment. Something in your life, your thinking, your behavior, your relationships, or your environment needs to change. Pain isn't there to make you suffer. It's there to wake you up. Think about the moments in your life that hurt the most. Maybe it was a heartbreak, a betrayal, a failure that crushed you, a loss that left a hole in your heart. You didn't ask for it, you didn't want it, but it happened, and in that moment, pain entered your life not to punish you, but to redirect you. Pain forces honesty, it forces reflection. It strips away the noise and excuses and makes you confront the truth you've been avoiding. You can lie to others all day long, but pain is the one thing you can't fake your way around. It tells you where you're stuck, where you've settled, where you've drifted off course. When you learn to view pain as feedback instead of failure, it becomes one of your greatest allies. For example, emotional pain often signals that you're living out of alignment with your values. Maybe you're in a toxic relationship, staying in a job that drains your soul, or avoiding a dream because fear is holding you back. That ache inside isn't just sadness or frustration. It's your inner self saying, this isn't who we are. This isn't where we belong. And if you're willing to listen, that message can change everything. Pain also reveals patterns. If you keep experiencing the same kind of pain, whether it's financial stress, relationship breakdowns, or self-doubt, it's not just bad luck. It's a pattern begging for your attention. It's life giving you the same lesson over and over again until you finally learn it. And once you do, once you face it, you break the cycle and take your power back. The key is to become curious about your pain instead of angry or ashamed. Ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Where am I being invited to grow? What belief, behavior, or decision led me here? These questions turn pain into progress. They turn chaos into clarity. And they give your struggle meaning. But here's the catch. Most people don't want to do this work. They want relief, not reflection. They want the pain to stop, but they don't want to change what caused it. That's why growth is rare. Because listening to pain requires courage. It requires facing things you've buried. It requires owning your choices and your power. But the moment you do that, the moment you stop seeing pain as something happening to you and start seeing it as something happening for you, you begin to rise. Pain is a powerful teacher, but only if you're willing to be a student. If you ignore the message, the pain will grow louder. But if you embrace it, if you use it, it will guide you toward your next level. The greatest transformations in life often begin with the words, I can't live like this anymore. That's pain doing its job, calling you forward. So instead of resenting it, thank it, let it speak, let it lead you, because pain is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your real one. Pain has a unique way of revealing your true strength. In the moment, it doesn't feel like a gift. It feels like everything is falling apart. It feels like drowning in doubt, heartbreak, or loss. But what most people don't realize is that suffering is the gym where emotional strength is built. You don't develop resilience by reading about it. You earn it through the storm. Every challenge, every setback, every crushing blow is pressure applied to your soul. And with each wave of pain you survive, your capacity to endure, adapt, and overcome grows stronger. The human spirit is far more powerful than most ever discover, because they avoid discomfort at all costs. They never lean into the pain long enough to find out what they're really made of. But when pain finds you, and it always will, you're faced with a decision. You can let it break you, or you can allow it to build you. The people who rise are not the ones who have the easiest lives. They're the ones who chose to fight through what tried to destroy them. Suffering teaches you emotional depth. It teaches you empathy. When you've been through hell, you look at the world differently. You recognize pain in others, and you respond with compassion instead of judgment. You become more present, more grounded, more human. And that emotional wisdom becomes one of your greatest strengths, not just for yourself, but for everyone around you. There's also a grit that comes from enduring pain that can't be faked or borrowed. You develop a certain kind of mental armor, not the kind that makes you cold or closed off, but the kind that keeps you standing when everything around you falls apart. You learn to regulate your emotions, to take control of your inner state even when the outer world is chaos. You stop reacting and start responding. That emotional discipline becomes a superpower in relationships, business, and life. But let's be clear. Resilience doesn't mean pretending you're okay when you're not. It doesn't mean ignoring your emotions or stuffing your pain down. True resilience is feeling the pain fully, processing it, grieving it, learning from it, and still moving forward. It's crying and showing up anyway. It's breaking down and getting back up. It's having the courage to continue even when there's no guarantee of success on the other side. What's powerful is that once you've survived deep pain, you begin to fear less. You realize that you can be knocked down, rejected, betrayed, abandoned, and still rise. And with that realization comes a quiet confidence, a sense of unshakable self-trust. You don't need perfect circumstances to move forward anymore. You've already walked through fire. Now you know you can handle anything. This is how emotional strength is forged. It's not in the easy moments. It's in the darkest nights. It's when your back is against the wall, when there's no plan B, when it feels like no one is coming to save you. That's where you meet the version of yourself you didn't even know existed. That's where you become resilient, not just in survival, but in spirit. Pain may not be something you choose, but how you respond to it is always within your control. Let it shape you, let it refine you, let it make you emotionally bulletproof. Not bitter, but better, because when suffering no longer scares you, you become unstoppable. Adversity strips away everything that is false. When life hits you hard, when you lose the job, get betrayed by someone you trusted, fall flat on your face after giving your all, it feels like destruction. But what if it's actually reconstruction? What if the pain is not there to end you, but to introduce you to who you really are? Adversity has a way of revealing the parts of you that comfort and ease could never uncover. When everything is going right, it's easy to get lost in distraction. But when it all falls apart, that's when you meet yourself. The raw, real, unfiltered version of who you are beneath the surface. When you're in the fire, you start to ask deeper questions. Why am I really here? What matters most? What kind of life do I actually want? These aren't the kinds of questions you ask when you're on autopilot. These are the questions born from pain, from struggle, from being forced to pause and reflect. And in those moments of truth, you begin to shed the masks, the people, pleasing, the self, doubt, the stories you've told yourself about your limitations. You begin to realize that maybe the version of you that existed before the pain was actually playing small, settling, hiding. It's often through adversity that your true identity is revealed. Not the identity shaped by other people's expectations, but the one shaped by strength, by clarity, by authenticity. And once you find that version of yourself, you can never go back. Because you're no longer operating out of illusion, you're operating from truth. You've been tested, and you know what you're capable of. Even more powerful, adversity often reveals your purpose. When you go through something heavy, something life-altering. It changes your lens on the world. You no longer want to live a shallow life. You don't just want success for the sake of success. You want meaning. You want your life to count. Many people discover their mission only after they've walked through something they thought would break them. Whether it's turning pain into a message, building a business that solves a problem they experienced, or simply showing up differently for others, you begin to find direction in what once felt like devastation. You start to understand that pain wasn't a detour, it was the path. It was the necessary pressure that forced you to grow into the person you were always meant to become. Without that adversity, you might have stayed in your comfort zone forever. But the loss, the betrayal, the failure, it woke something up in you. It gave you vision, it gave you fire, and it made you bold enough to let go of what wasn't serving you anymore. One of the most powerful realizations you'll ever have is this: I needed that pain to find my purpose. It doesn't mean you asked for it. It doesn't mean it was fair, but it means you used it. And when you start using your adversity instead of resenting it, you gain control over your narrative. You're no longer a victim of your past, nor the author of your future. Adversity is the great clarifier. It peels away the noise and reveals what really matters. It teaches you who you are, what you stand for, and what you're here to do. And that clarity is priceless. It doesn't come in the comfort. It comes in the chaos. So if you're in the middle of adversity right now, know this: you're not losing yourself. You're finding yourself. And when you come out the other side, you won't just be stronger. You'll be aligned, you'll be clear, and you'll be unstoppable. Sometimes the very thing that feels like your greatest setback is actually the setup for your breakthrough. In the moment, pain feels final. A failure feels like the end of the road. But if you look back on your life, you'll see a pattern. Every major leap forward was preceded by a challenge that forced you to grow. That's not a coincidence. That's how transformation works. When life breaks your plans, it's often redirecting you to something greater. That rejection you thought would destroy you, it freed you from the wrong path. That failure that embarrassed you, it exposed the flaws in your strategy so you could rebuild with strength. Setbacks are not signs that you're unworthy. They're invitations to rise higher than you ever would have if everything had gone smoothly. But the key is how you respond. Most people let setbacks stop them. They interpret the pain as a reason to quit. Millionaires, leaders, visionaries, they interpret pain as a signal to pivot, not to retreat. They don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" They ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" That shift in perspective turns every obstacle into a stepping stone. You grow through what you go through. Setbacks build mental muscle, sharpen your focus, and force you to operate at a higher level. They reveal weaknesses in your mindset or strategy that you wouldn't have seen otherwise. And once you've learned the lesson, you're better equipped to move forward with clarity and conviction. Your setback isn't the end of your story. It's the part that makes your story worth telling. So don't resist it, use it. Because when you look back, you'll realize that what once felt like the worst moment of your life was the exact push you needed to create the best one. Pain, when transformed, becomes one of the most powerful tools for impact and legacy. The experiences that once broke you become the stories that build others. The suffering that once made you feel isolated becomes the connection that brings healing to someone else. When you rise from your pain, not just surviving it, but growing through it, you gain something more than strength. You gain perspective, and with that comes the power to lead, to serve, and to inspire. Many of the world's greatest leaders, speakers, creators, and change-makers didn't come from perfect backgrounds. They came from pain, and because they found a way to transform their struggles into wisdom, they became a light for others still walking through the darkness. Your scars don't disqualify you. They qualify you. They give your voice weight. They give your story truth. And when you share what you've overcome, you don't just inspire. You liberate. But impact doesn't require a stage or a million followers. Sometimes it's one conversation, one act of kindness, one moment where your experience helps someone avoid a mistake, feel seen, or believe in themselves again. That's legacy. It's not about money or fame. It's about using your pain for a purpose bigger than yourself. Pain that is never transformed becomes pain that is transmitted to your relationships, your work, your children. But when you heal, grow, and use your pain, you break the cycle. You turn what once held you back into something that propels others forward. That's the full circle. That's where pain becomes power. Not just personal power, but power that moves people, elevates them, and leaves a mark long after you're gone. That's how legacies are built, from the ashes of struggle into something unshakably beautiful. Pain is not the end, it's the beginning of something greater. It's the doorway to transformation, the raw material for growth, and the forge that shapes purpose, resilience, and identity. Every scar carries a story, and every story holds the power to heal, to connect, and to lead. What once felt like your breaking point becomes your turning point when you choose to face it, learn from it, and rise because of it, not in spite of it. The truth is, you wouldn't be who you are today without the pain you've endured. It humbled you, strengthened you, and revealed parts of yourself you never knew existed. It taught you what really matters,